everyone, and welcome to part one of Melanated People in Medieval British Isles. This video I will be concentrating on Ireland. In this video I'll be reading 3 pages from the book Phases of Irish History by Macneil Eoin, published in 1919. I have summarized these 3 paragraphs into simpler terms to make the video quicker. So if you want to read this properly, then just pause the video, or you can find it online for free on Internet Archives. The text discusses the ancient inhabitants of islands before the Celtic immigration and criticizes the use of the term Iberians to refer to them as unscientific and misleading. The author argues against assuming that these ancient populations were related to the Iberians mentioned in Greek and Latin literature. The author mentions the work of someone called Rhys, who suggested connections between the ancient Irish and Scottish languages and modern Basque. But the author noticed that we cannot even be sure if the Basque population was originally Iberian. Additionally, the text highlights the presence of diverse races in prehistoric southwestern Europe, indicating that the population of Ireland likely comprised a mixture of different ethnic groups even before the arrival of the Celts. The Iberian theory, as far as it goes beyond mere speculation, relies primarily on the passage from Tacitus, who is a Roman historian and politician, and would have witnessed these people around 100 AD. He describes the Silures, a British tribe located in southern Wales, as having a swarthy complexion, curly hair, and their proximity to Spain, suggesting that ancient Iberians might have migrated to Britain and settled among them. I'm going to pause here quickly to show you the definition of swarthy, because I find it interesting that he describes the British tribes of Wales at this time, which is around 100 AD, maybe a bit before, maybe a bit after, as darker people with curly hair. So here you can see the definition of swarthy. I tend to look at old English definitions of words, as now they have been overly saturated with so many different meanings that people don't even know what anything means anymore, or where the origin of the word comes from. The word swarthy originates from the word swart. The word swart is pronounced very different depending on where you are, like swart, swart. The word swarthy means black, being of dark hue. It can also mean anything to do with darkness. You can also see the word tawny here. Tawny was a very popular word, as you can see in like the 1500s, to explain someone who is brown or have like an orangey, reddy tint in their complexion. As you know, brown people have many pigmentations within their skin. For example, I have more yellow pigment in my skin, others have more red. And there will be loads of words to describe darker skinned people at the time, as this is before the word black became the standard. Okay, so back to the book. Similar physical traits in the west of Ireland have been attributed to a supposed Spanish influence in more recent times. This indicates a long-standing presence of a dark complexioned population in the Western Isles, likely of mixed ancestry, predating the arrival of fair complexioned peoples who originated in the Baltic region. If the Greeks got the term Britannic Islands from the Gauls for Britain and Ireland, it means the Gauls thought the main population there before the Celts came were the Britanni or Picts. The Picts lived mainly in northern mainland Scotland, north of the Grampian Mountains. Sorry if I butcher some of these words. The Venerable Bede said that they had their own language, different from Irish and British, which lasted until the early 8th century. Very interesting book. I would highly recommend it. Now moving on. According to new research, it has been found that prehistoric Irish people with dark skin and had blue eyes. There is also a documentary about this. The hunter-gatherer population that lived in Ireland 10,000 years ago do not have any of the pigmentation profiles associated with light skin. These dark-skinned people inhabited the islands for 4,000 years before being replaced by settled farmers. According to Dan Bradley, Professor of Population Genetics at Trinity College in Dublin, those first Irish people would not have had light skin that we have generally painted them with, but would in fact have much darker, maybe even black skin and blue eyes, linking them to mainland European countries such as Spain, Hungary, Luxembourg. These people would have lived in Western Europe after the last ice age, but before the farming era. Scientists and most people would say that the current people in Ireland today have light skin from enduring thousands of years of surviving in a climate where there's very little sun. It's an adaptation to the need to synthesize vitamin D in skin. Renowned Dutch artists who specialize in lifelike reconstructions of early human and extinct animal species, Alphonse and Adrie Kennis, said, People define themselves by which country they're from, and they assume that their ancestors were just like them. And then suddenly, new research shows that we used to be a totally different people with a different genetic makeup. He also went on to say, people will be surprised, and maybe it will make people from other races feel a bit more involved in the story. And maybe it gets rid of the idea that you have to look a certain way to be from somewhere. We are all immigrants.